You guys know that I'm a gadget freak. And I know many of you like your cameras, chargers, headphones, lanterns. One thing I've learned is that if it has a USB connection and it takes photos or video, it's something that I want to learn more about. Many of you either have an action camera or are curious about them. There's one really huge name out there in action cams, and then there's a few others as well. It's a big market, and you can spend a lot of money on a camera, mounts, memory cards, and other accessories. I have an action camera by one of the big names. It has GPS, all sorts of different in-camera options, and a host of different mounts available. It's also quite expensive. I didn't mind spending the money though, because combining photography, video, and the outdoors is something I'm pretty serious about. Now, once I started using my expensive action camera, it made me thirsty for more. It's one thing to have a view of the action, but what about one or two more views? I'm a producer, and I love it anytime I can produce multi-camera video. For in-studio video, that's easy. Just shoot, then move the camera, and then shoot again. For action, that's a little more complicated. You might end up in a situation where you have to say, "Here, hold my beer, and remember, I can only do this once." That means you're only going to get one shot of the action. If you want more angles, you need more cameras. The problem with that is that action cams traditionally have been very expensive. But what if you wanted to add a second camera, or even your first action camera, without breaking the bank? This is the KINGCOOL Action Camera. In a minute, I'm going to show you how I used it to turn a short bike ride into a video experience. First, let's talk about some of the basics. For starters, it's under $70 on Amazon. But that's not just for the camera itself. For that price, you've got the underwater case and a bunch of mounts. Mounts for bikes, adhesive mounts, and the ability to combine them in different ways to attach the camera to what you need and to get the angle that you're looking for. And the feedback on Amazon is that this camera is also compatible with the most popular mounting system out there as well, meaning that you have a ton of options. The only thing you have to supply is a micro SD card. The camera supports cards up to 32 gigabytes. Okay, so I like the low price a lot, but the real test for me is how it performs out in the real world. So what did I do? I geared up and headed out to Arizona's namesake trail, the Arizona Trail. The specific area I went to is just south of Flagstaff, Arizona. Northern Arizona means high elevation, cool summer weather, and some amazing forest trails. My assistant worked with a trailside camera while I had the KINGCOOL camera and my other action camera mounted to my handlebars. One camera was directed up at me and the KINGCOOL camera was pointed straight ahead. I geared up with my helmet and gloves, turned my cameras on, and away I went. I love the multi-camera setup for action because it makes its own action. One moment you're looking up ahead, then you can see the rider grinding up the hill, and from the bystander view, you can see the cyclist and the entire environment. Just switching between the angles adds excitement to the action. After a few passes up and down the trail and 3 cameras worth of footage, we packed it up and headed out. I was eager to come back home and analyze the footage. What I got was rich, saturated 1080p footage, which was exactly what I saw for my bike. Everything worked as expected. So how did this little camera do? You saw the footage. It did its job, and it did it right. While it does not have onboard GPS or some of the frills that the much more expensive cameras have, it does have Wi-Fi, and you can control the camera and even see what you're recording from an app on your phone. In any case, it did what I asked of it. It captured the action from a camera that came with everything that I needed to get it up and running on my bike right out of the box. The camera itself is simple to use and the mounts were easy to figure out, though they did take a little bit of extra work with a screwdriver to tighten onto my bike. When I take it out on a bumpy mountain bike ride again, I'll definitely spend some extra time in the beginning getting the mount super tight so I don't have to fuss with it later. Or I might even try out one of the brand name mounts. For most uses though, the in-box mounts are perfect. These are great times for action video. It was not too many years ago that 1080p was out of reach of the average consumer, and then it was extremely expensive. Now, for well under $100, you have a great 1080p camera, case, mounts, charger, all in one box, ready to take out on your next adventure, whether that's your backyard, some forest trails, or wherever life takes you. Check out the link in the description of the video for more information, and as always, let me know if you have any questions.